Good morning. Remember yesterday I said we got this little bit of snow coming down? Well, it turns out we got a tidy little snowfall and we are now out of power. That happens not infrequently here. And I was thinking about that this morning as I was meditating about being without power. And it's a metaphor in my mind for being disconnected from the divine. Have you ever been like without electricity for a while? Everything becomes harder, doesn't it? You can't just go about your day doing the things you always do without paying attention. You have to be thinking of where is my light source going to come from when I go from one room to another. Can I run water to brush my teeth? That sort of thing. It's all, life gets more complicated. Life gets more challenging. All of the simple things that should be simple, become more complex. Life gets smaller. And that's what happens when we are in a kind of a disconnect mode from the divine. Life gets small, it gets challenging. Simple things get blown up into big things. Drama is a result, for sure. The divine has no drama. And that's part of the reason I think it experiences life in these little forms of humans and such, because it's a lot more exciting in a way. Drama is excitement in a way. So I was just thinking about this, and I was thinking about this as, how we all, most of us, seem to end up in our lives with no power running. And when we're born, we all have like dual umbilical cords. We have the physical umbilical cord to our mother, and it gets cut virtually immediately upon birth. And we have an energetic umbilical cord to the divine. And that doesn't get cut at birth. We come in with the full power cord going on there. But over time, it gets frayed and it gets corroded, and sometimes strands get snapped by significant traumas, until eventually we're left with just the tiniest little cord connecting us to our source, our source of power. And sometimes not even that. For some people, not even that. And then we can spend the rest of our lives kind of limping along through life without the power that we're meant to have, and the connection and grace and flow that life can be. Or we sort of pick up the toolkit along the way and start forging our connection to the divine back again. And that's what spiritual practices do. Any kind of spiritual practice, self-awareness, even exploration of the new sciences, for instance, can lead us back there. Anything taken deep enough can lead us back to our source. And, maybe I'm taking this too far, but on the other hand, this is an analogy I could go on for a while with. And I sometimes worry about getting too lost in these analogies. But on the other hand, it's all yoga, as my friend would say in the yoga development course. It's all yoga, baby. Everything that happens is a metaphor for what's going on in our lives. And the physical world is nothing but a metaphor. It's a mirror of deeper levels of reality. So I'm going to just go with this metaphor and hope that it's okay. So we talk about empowerment and we talk about gathering power. And this is what it means. It means re-hooking up to the divine, which is a phrase I guess we can't really use anymore. It's got another meaning out there, but reconnecting, reforging our conduit to divine energy, to the source. And when we do that, as we do that, like every little bit that you increase your connection, life gets more easy and effortless and smooth and joyful. And the big things become smaller and the small things become nothing. They don't bother you the way they used to. And that's the kind of thing I'm thinking here with the power out. Because another thing that happens when there's no electricity is that all of our habitual distractions go away. I mean, not only are we brought into a more conscious interaction with our day-to-day lives, because things that we used to do mechanically without thought, now we have to step back and be more aware of and consider, how am I going to do this? Okay, there's no electric can opener. Where's the manual can opener? I can't just turn on the stove. I can't just turn on the heat. I can't just turn on a light. What do? How do I, can't plug in my cell phone. Can't turn on the TV. Can't check into Facebook and see what everybody else is doing. And all of these ways that we have of abandoning the moment and abandoning ourselves, really ignoring ourselves, ignoring the present moment, what's real for us and what's really going on for us, and ignoring the divine. It's, so easy to ignore the divine when you have a million distractions out there. And the ego loves distractions. It loves to take you away into hours of Facebook or TV or video games or online shopping or whatever it is that we do to distract ourselves from the state of our connection to the divine, from how clear and sweet that conduit is, or how corroded and frayed it is. But the nice thing about that is it doesn't take much to start rebuilding that connection. Simply paying attention to it, it's all that it takes. I mean, there are ways that we can move forward stronger and faster and build that connection to greater and greater degrees. But really the smallest step is the most important, and that's just paying attention to your heart and the little voice inside your heart that talks to you and guides you and wants to connect with you again, that just wants to love you and wants you to know how much you're loved. So when the power goes out, the electricity goes out, and the distractions go out, and what we call power in the world is seen to be nothing more than a chimera. It's not real. We think it's so potent, and we think it's ongoing. And then something like this happens, and we go, oh, we realize it's not either of those things. Power comes and goes, and it's what we do around that matters. And it also gives us a new perspective on power, as opposed to being something relating to the outside world or something that we get out there. It becomes, what's my power inside myself to manage these situations on one level, and to find a new layer of power, a new meaning of power in our deeper connection to ourselves and to Source. So, as you go through your day to day, see if you can't become a little bit more aware of how the ease of turning on a light switch or whatever continues to feed this level of unconsciousness, and see if you can't bring a little bit more awareness to what you're doing when you're turning on a light, and making that a metaphor for yourself. I'm turning on the light, and I'm connecting with Source at the same time. I'm turning on anything, and I'm connecting with Source at the same time. When I was at the ashram, they used to have little reminders sometimes painted around the light switches. I remember one of them said, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am light eternal. And every time I would turn on that light switch, it was like I would say that as to myself, and I would realize it in myself again. And clicking the switch was a way of kind of anchoring that into my body and into my knowing, and just sort of rebuilding one of those frayed little cords to the divine. I'm turning on the switch, and I'm reconnecting one of those tiny little strands. And that's a really lovely practice. Actually, I've often thought that I would like to do that here at home. I wanted to create, and sell light switch covers that had that kind of saying on them. And now I've given that idea to someone else who can maybe do it, because I've never done it. So if you do it, let me know. I want to buy them. And I'll sell them on my site. Okay, we're going way over time today, and there was more that I actually wanted to get into about that, but I'll just leave it for now, and go out and explore deeper sense of true power while the electricity is out. So I hope that the light comes through to you today in every possible way. And have a lovely day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. All right? Blessed be.